Hi, hello, and welcome to Kraken's Campaign, Episode 2. It is Saturday, the 24th, and 2 days before the speed date. If my eyes are a little bit red, it's been an emotional day, and I'm doing this for distraction because the world's on fire, so I just need to focus on some other stuff. So I figured I would come on here and I would share a few stories and some updates. The first update from the last video, which was nearly 2 weeks ago, business cards have arrived. They're a little bit smaller than I thought they'd be. Obviously, I'm not going to turn it over because it has my personal number. And as much as I love you, if it's mutual, we probably have already exchanged numbers. But yeah, it's a little bit smaller than I expected. Like it's a nice print. We can zoom in. It's nice and shining and looks professional and stuff. So I do like it. I've put a couple in each of my jackets. I've put some in my gym bag. I've put some in the general like carry bag that I take with me. It's just like a little shoulder backpack thing. So whenever I have enough bravery to actually approach someone and talk to them and bring up the whole thing about numbers, I'll have it to hand. I also this week I was walking through town and I spotted this absolutely stunning lady, and she had like blonde hair and she had like this green military jacket and she had docs on. She looked so freaking cool. I wanted to say hi and exchange numbers and I just couldn't bring myself to do it. So I'm not quite there yet. But I did stop and turned around to her and said, "Hey, sorry to interrupt. Just wanted to say, real love your perfume. It's really, really nice." That's it. And off I went into the night. It's as much as I can do as a drive-by compliment, and that's fine. I mentioned it on Threads, and a bunch of people said that that probably made her evening, if not her week. So it's something. And I'm proud of me for doing it. There was a little bit of a rush for me because I was very nervous. Who knows? I may bump into that person again. Belfast is a very small city. But even if I don't, it's really nice if I have made someone's day. I have generally been pretty good at being able to at least speak to strangers to give them compliments. That's never been a problem for me. And I don't do it just with women. I will stop guys as well in order to say, I love the top, love the jacket, whatever. I think guys need it just as much. So if I spot something that's really cool, I will point it out to them. I'm pretty sure I saw a guy with like Doc Martens that had like the night sky Van Gogh kind of painted on them. I don't know if they were Docs or at least Doc resembling, but they were very cool. So I remember stopping and giving him a compliment on that. Guys' outfits are typically very drab, so I love seeing whenever people do something a little bit different. And as you can see, I'm a little bit more sort of fancy this evening. I was meeting up with my brothers. We were supposed to go bowling. Hence, I figured I'd wear a little bit more of an outlandish shirt. And the bowling alley was completely booked up for like 4 hours. So we just went for pizza and a Tim Hortons. And I tried to stay away from my phone because of everything that's going on in America right now. And I have a lot of friends out there. And anyway, so I have business cards now. I will try and make sure that I have them to hand. And maybe if I feel a little bit more confident or comfortable, because I also wasn't happy with what I was wearing whenever I bumped into the lady the other night. I had just come out of gym. I was in like tracksuit bottoms and multiple layers and a Thundercats hat. And I know that people would say that's who you are, so why is that a bad thing? I just didn't feel comfortable or at least confident in what I was wearing to say that as a stranger, I would make any kind of positive impression other than the compliment, obviously. So I have had some emails in relation to the event on Monday night. I will be meeting 15 people, roughly, depending on like cancellations, last minute dropouts, that kind of stuff. They open the doors at 7:30. The event starts at 8. It's 5 minutes with each person and seems to run until about 10:30. There's a little break in the middle of it all for like a drinks intermission. I will not be consuming like a ton of alcohol. I wouldn't want to be like slurring my speech or making a really bad impression. Um, I'll probably have a shot of whiskey for some Dutch courage and then just stick to energy drinks. I think that would be enough to sail me right through. Um, I do have like a box of like all these opening questions or icebreaker questions. I was wondering whether or not I should bring that with me. Um, my neurodivergent ass would obviously appreciate no 5 minutes was ever left with a question or awkwardness. Um, and I am nervous, so it would make things a little bit easier to talk about stuff if I went, "Hey, I have a question here." But then, what if the question is like, "Describe the first person you fell in love with"? So maybe it's not the ideal situation, but um, it's hard because I'm going into a situation that isn't natural, but I want to be natural and I want to look natural. Um, I have a couple of different outfits in mind, so I'll show you the different tops that I'm thinking of. So option number one is a very baggy, oversized jumper. I've worn it on a couple of dates, like solo dates. Very long sleeved. I can probably tuck in and hell with the comfort. It's fuzzy and comfy. So I like it. One of the things that I'm a little worried about, and it's the same for the second one, is this like too on the nose? If I wandered in with like a heart on my chest, would they be like, okay? Do you know what I mean? Is it too much? Um, I'll show you the second outfit. All right, forgive that there's a t-shirt under here. Let's pretend the t-shirt's not there, okay? But it's a black jumper. It's a little bit more fitted. It has multiple hearts on it. And I have had compliments on this outfit as well. But I think I like the color to it. Um, sorry, I think the light was making it quite bright. I just worry that it's a little bit on my nose to say I've got a heart on my sleeve. um, but it's definitely an option. The third choice is a little bit more subdued, and it's this cardigan. It's a very thick knit. It's very comfy. It's quite snazzy. I think it's actually quite figure revealing. It shows, bulk in my arms, which is always a good thing, right? Um, I'll stick with this for the rest of the evening. But yeah, I've got a couple of different choices. I'll see how I feel maybe on the Monday. Obviously, feel free to throw in the comments if you're like, none of these would work. Spoke to friends on Twitch this week about outfits, and they said, wear whatever makes you feel comfortable and what you would wear in a solo date. And it took me a little bit by surprise, honestly, because I was thinking, oh, yeah, no, this is just like a solo date, except I'm meeting people. I have spent so much time doing solo dates that dates with other people feel like the weird alien foreign concept to me. So that was a little bit of oh yeah, yeah, I've always been dressing for me, but then I should always be dressing for me, right? I know that one of my biggest problems are going to be overthinking it. So I'm going to try and switch off and focus on other things. I I can picture 101 things that could potentially happen that night. I could meet some very cool people. I could have an absolute disaster. For context, I figured I could share a story about the worst date that I've ever had. That was memorable. We will call her Cece. We had met through Tinder. Um, Her profile very specifically was, let's cut through the bullshit. I'm free this Saturday night. Who wants to go on a date? And I swiped right. She was a nurse, same sort of age as me. Seemed like she had her head screwed on. I might have been incorrect in that assumption. I suggested, let's start the night off a little bit classy. Let's go to a cocktail bar that's in town that I quite like, called Revolution de Cuba. I turned up in a waistcoat and shirt, pocket watch, no rings, but I polished up okay. I figured I would make the effort. It was a cocktail bar after all. We'd scheduled to meet at about 7 o'clock. I get a text message roughly around 10 past, quarter past 7, saying I'm running late. Um, I've been having issues getting my makeup ready, but I'll be done as soon as possible. I said, that's fine, not a problem. Do you want me to order the cocktail for you, or are you going to take longer than that? Because the cocktail would obviously take about 5-10 minutes. And she said, yeah, order the cocktail, but I've already started the pregame. Oh, I haven't drank at all. So I'm thinking we're going to be on very different levels right from the start. She turned up at about 8 o'clock. Her drink, the ice cubes in it had already melted. I had already finished my cocktail, thinking, well, it's probably just as well if I do finish this, I can order another one, I guess. So whenever she arrived, she said, do they serve food in here? Pretty quickly in, I was no, I don't think so. Plus it's like 8 o'clock on a Saturday, so would need to have bookings. But there's a place around the corner called Bootleggers, one of my favorite places. They do really nice chicken wings and tenders, so we can go there. She takes a look at me and goes, are you gay? And same reaction as right now. No. Why? Says, I don't know, I feel like you're gay. Nope, not gay. And it's something that I've heard before. I think some people get very confused at times that I'm not a very deep voiced masculine man who's into sports, and with the shaven head and the beard. I think I just had like thick stubble at that point, but I can have a very mean stare. But no, I'm not gay. It's clear that it just confuses some people. And she had made that assumption, and that's fine. I clarified. I thought that would be the end of it. It was not. She necked the cocktail, just completely threw it back, said, come on, I'm hungry. Let's go get the food then. And I said, okay, sure. Went to Bootleggers, and it's 8 o'clock, maybe quarter past 8 at this point in the what is effectively a busy, popular bar and restaurant. We didn't have reservations, and they said, look, don't worry, it's fine, as long as you don't mind sitting at the bar. We just don't have any booths or tables free. I said, yeah, that'll be fine, because we just want to get food, right? She says, yeah, no, that works. So Cece went up to the bar, sat down, looked at the menu, placed her order. We started chatting a little bit about what her intentions were. She was a nurse, so her thoughts were that she was going to go out to Australia for a year, but she wouldn't be going at least for another 6 months. So in the meantime, she wanted to date a little bit, see who was out there, might meet someone along the line. And I'm thinking, that's fine. Some of my best dates have been with people who aren't going to be around for much longer, so that's okay. We placed our order, and within about 5 minutes, she turned on the staff, being like, excuse me, do you know how much longer our food's going to be? And they said, well, I mean, you've only just ordered, so it's probably going to be about 20 minutes or so, maybe 30. Oh my God, that's ridiculous. Why is it taking so long? And I was just looking at her going, why are you being rude to them? It's a Saturday night, and we got lucky getting to the bar to have our food. Like, they could have just as easily turned us away. But anyway, she goes back to talking about Australia. and all of the plans that she has. And I'm asking questions about, do you have family or friends out there that you would be staying with? And, what kind of area do you specialize in? Are you planning to go out for just the year and then come back again? Or are you thinking that you might migrate out there like permanently? Because I have a friend who lives out there. Holly, if you're ever watching this, I love your face. And yeah, I wasn't really feeling the vibe. You know the way sometimes it really hits you very quickly that this isn't your kind of person. And then she just kind of squints at me again, goes, "Are you sure you're not gay?" Yeah, I'm sure. Thanks. Don't know why you keep asking me that. So just you give that vibe. I'm like, okay. And there's only so many times you can get that asked before you start to get a little bit frustrated. Food arrives, disappears very quickly. And then we decide to go into the cathedral quarter, which is quite close to the bar that we're at. It's maybe 5 minute walk. She's in heels, so she's very clear in saying, I don't want to walk too far. I said, that's fine. Cathedral quarter's just around the corner. We can go and have a drink. And I'm thinking, at least then maybe I can get on the same level, because I'm thinking if I drink and I'm as drunk as she is, maybe that would make things a little bit easier for me. Because I don't like whenever it's a very dramatic difference. I will blame my parents for that. And we went into this bar and we were in the back. And then she starts talking to me about sexual abuse. Not in anything specific, not directly with her. But she said, do you realize that every woman that you've been with has probably been a victim of sexual abuse? And I said, yeah, I'm very well aware of the statistics. She says, probably your mum as well. I said, yeah, I actually know about an instance that my mum told me about. I said, and do you have any sisters? And I said, oh my God, she's actually asking me a question. She said, yeah, I've got a sister. She says, well, she probably was a victim of sexual assault in some way as well. I would believe that. I know that it's a very difficult situation and it's very important that you stay safe and you need to look after yourself. So I hope that nothing that I've said or done has made you feel uncomfortable, or I've done anything that would make you feel on edge or anything like that. She says, no, you haven't done anything. You're practically gay. We finish our drink and I'm thinking, I'm not enjoying this. This is not a good date. She's barely asked me anything about myself. She seems like she's very much a party girl. I'm a lot more relaxed and subdued than that. I obviously am having fun whenever I go out, but I'm also in a waistcoat. And as we're walking along, one of these nightclub barkers comes out and is like, "Oh, you should go upstairs. It's free entry up until like 9 o'clock." So yeah, it was like free entry before 10 o'clock. So, oh, okay. She says, let's go upstairs for a dance. I said, right, okay. I'm thinking, I'm in a waistcoat. I don't think nightclub is really the style. Okay, sure, why not? So we go upstairs. She says, I need to go to the bathroom. I was like, okay, I'll stand here. Do you want me to hold your coat while you're away? She says, no, that's fine. So off she goes, and I'm standing there. And I'm thinking, she hasn't even mentioned a drink. And this is a nightclub, so I don't want to order the wrong drink. And I glance over and she's talking to someone, a guy, very unlike me. Very much the country fella who would be like 6 foot, stocky build. He may have even been wearing like a ghillie football top. And I'm thinking, okay, that may be someone that she just knows, or that's her type, and she shot her shot, or he shot his shot, whatever. But eventually she comes back after about 10 minutes, and I'm thinking, nightclub bathrooms can be like that anyway. But whenever she comes back, looks me dead in the eyes and goes, I don't think this date. You think? I said, yeah, I don't think it's going well either. So I think I'm going to go. She says, yeah, I think that would be best. You're practically gay, so it's just not going to work out. Okay. So I just turned around and left, and I was home before. Yeah, I was home before 10 o'clock because I remember coming home and being like, I got all dressed up for a couple of hours. I've had a nice cocktail, but that was a painful date. Um, there are things that I would look for on a date, and CC had none of them. I guess it's good to be bold about these kind of things, like challenging yourself and meeting people that you may not necessarily have that much in common with. Sometimes you can find a common ground. Sometimes there's pure physical attraction. Whatever the case may be, but there was just nothing. And I guess we all have these kind of dates, but it was so painful. And I know I'm never going to completely escape the gay allegations. That's just life. But if you ask and I tell you, that should be the end of the subject, you would think, right? It was stuff like that whenever I first started dating at the very tender age of 19, but even before that, people would have always heard my voice and accused me of being gay, and then treated me like I was, or I was in the closet about stuff. I would dress pretty well. I think I have a sense of style that kind of confuses people a little bit. And it can get a bit exhausting. And it's an extra challenge whenever I meet new people because that tends to be their first assumption. Even complimenting someone on their perfume or something, I guess. Um, it's tricky. It's an extra hurdle that I need to clear. I do have multiple friends who said, "Yeah, when I first met you, I thought you were gay," which is okay. I'm okay. Like if that was genuinely the case, it's not a bad thing. It's just exhausting to have to prove your own sexuality, I guess, whenever you're straight. I guess the right people would never make that kind of assumption and would understand. So I will keep myself busy in the meantime because, like I said, I don't want to overthink things. So tomorrow I'll be recording Wuthering Heights for my Patreon, where I tell bedtime stories. I'll be making some spicy content for my other Patreon. Tomorrow evening I'll be meeting up with a friend. We're going to go to her boyfriend's improv show. She's going to cheer him on. We're going to catch up. So it should be a fun night. Monday I'm working all day, and then I'll finish, shower, change, shot of whiskey, off to the speed date. I will do a couple of impromptu videos on my phone, and maybe just do like a short before and after, to let you know how it goes. But there will be more updates, and wish me luck. I love your face. Thank you for watching and supporting and encouraging me. And yeah, I'll catch you on the other side.